So welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through the step-by-step sales process that we've used within my businesses to generate 3 million sales. And it's the same sales process that we teach to our agency clients that helps them grow 6- and 7-figure businesses. So when I got into fitness, I'd never had a sales background before at all. I'd never done sales. I'd never been taught sales. I'd never done business before I actually had my own business. So I was looking for something that I could plug and play into my business that wasn't like very pushy, that didn't require a massive amount of objection handling skills, and was just a nice, easy process to take someone from jumping on a call with me. It let me get to know them a little bit more, and it let me just basically just give them the best of what I had to offer. So it's not very pushy. It's not a very hard push tactic. It's just something that we can use to get someone from A to B and let them know about our services. So I'll get into the step-by-step now. So step 1 is the pre-call. This is really, really important before somebody gets on a call. You don't just want to turn up cold, having never really spoken to them, haven't broke the ice. Getting them on a Zoom call especially is just a little bit daunting for them. So step 1 is the pre-call, and that means sending them a personalized message after they've booked the call with you, whether it's a voice note, whether it's a little video, or whether you've got something a little bit more set out, which we will teach you in later videos. So if you want to hear that, subscribe to the channel, either down there or up there, or what, press them both, because I still don't know what it does. The pre-call is really important. So send them a very short message saying, "Hi X, it's Steve. I'm just reaching out to confirm your call on Thursday. Just wanted to run through a little bit of caretaking about the call first. So just please make sure that you're in somewhere that's a little bit quiet, that you're not kind of in the car or out for a walk or things like that. And all we're going to do is talk about kind of where you are right now, the places where you want to get to, and then we'll discuss some options of how we can potentially solve that problem. All right. Even if you're not like ready to join the program right now, that's absolutely fine. We'll still give you some strategies and some things that you can take away from the call in order to implement yourself, just to make sure that you get something out of this time. Really looking forward to speaking to you. Just let me know that that time's okay for you. I'll give you a call 24 hours before anyway, just to remind you, and I'll speak to you then. Done. Pre-call sorted. They should know now what's going to happen, how it's going to be structured. They're going to understand they're going to get some value from the call, so they want to turn up anyway, regardless of if they're not sure if they're going to sign up. So that means that your short rate will be really good and they're ready to go. Okay, step 2. So this is opening the call. This is where you want to build a little bit of rapport. You just want to have a chat with them. You just want to be a little bit personable. All right. And then you want to go through the frame of the call. So you want to actually pre-frame what the call is going to be about, like you've already done on the pre-call. So, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a few questions. Basically, just get to the bottom of what you're struggling with. All right. And then afterwards, we're going to go through some things that you can maybe implement. I'll talk you through how we could maybe help you with that. And then if that's all okay, I can kind of talk you through prices and packages. Is that all right? They'll generally say yes. The next thing you want to do is pre-frame some objections. So just go, right, so before we do that, is there any reason why at the end of this call, we wouldn't be able to get either a yes or a no on whether you're ready to take that next step with us? So is there maybe a partner or anything like that that we need to know about, just so we can make sure that you're in the best position to be able to give us a yes or a no? That's all we want to do. All we want to do is just not get a maybe, because a maybe means that then I'm going to be chasing you around and you're going to be left in limbo. So just a yes or a no on whether it's a good fit for me. Can we do that? Generally, you're going to get a yes. If you get a no, then you need to handle the objection at that point, and we'll do another video on handling objections later down the line. So again, press the 2 buttons. But having that in play will mean that you're not wasting, an hour of your time or half an hour of your time talking to this person when they've already decided that they weren't going to do it. So that's a very, very key point of this. So that's point 2. So point 3, step 3 of the whole process is then getting them into questions. So the biggest tip for you right here is just shut up. You need to keep your mouth shut. Don't overtalk them. Don't show that you understand. Don't try and interject with some more advice. You need to shut the fuck up. One of the biggest mistakes that I see coaches make at this point is that as soon as somebody gives them a little bit of information, they fucking override them and they just overpower the call and they start blurting out advice to them. Let them talk. So these are the questions that you're going to want to run through. Question 1, what is the dream result? So for you, if everything went perfectly over the next 3, 6, however long your program is, if everything went perfectly, what would the dream result be? Where would you really want to be for you to be in the best place possible? Question 2 is, what are the biggest obstacles that you face in getting it? So everybody's got their own issues, their own things that need to overcome. So what do you think the biggest things are stopping you getting there? What do you think the biggest things that need to happen in order for you to achieve that result? Question 3 is, it depends on whether you've got a family or not. So what parts of your life would change if you managed to achieve this result? So I just want to know what would happen to maybe in your family or in your work life or whatever's important to them, depending on your program. Okay. What would change in your life if you actually got this result? How would that feel? What would that look like? Okay. The next stage is just pre-handling some objections that you might get further down the line. So you're going to want to ask these questions just so they verbalize to you why they're on this call and why they need help. So question one of that. So why do you think you need a coach to help you with this? You want them to talk about why they're going to need a coach, why they can't do it on their own. An alternative question to that could be, so why do you not think you've been able to achieve this on your own so far? So again, they're verbalizing to you why they can't do it on their own and why they need help. The second question is, why is now the right time that you've decided to take action on this? Like, has anything happened or have you got anything coming up? You want them to give you a reason on why now is the perfect time to get started and it's not 6 weeks or 8 weeks or a month down the line. You need them to verbalize why they're here right now, what's caused them to be at this junction right now, so that you don't get talked into like, oh, I'll do it next week or I'll do it in a couple of months, because they've already told you why they need to do it now. So you can always bring that back up to them. Final question is, why us? So all right, so of all the personal trainers, why did you decide to discuss this with us? Like, what was it about our company or what was it about me, depending on whether you're a brand or whether you're a person? So what was it about me that made you want to jump on this call with me? Like, what do you think that we do differently that's going to allow you to succeed? Again, they're going to tell you why they've jumped on a call with you. They're going to tell you what makes you different. So then you can repackage that later on and give it back to them as their own idea. The best thing in sales is if you get them to say it themselves. You just dictating and blurting out words to them is never really going to work, and it becomes really pushy. You're just asking the right questions to get them to say the right things. So that's the end of the questioning portion. That might take anywhere between 20 minutes and half an hour, depending on how deep the problems are. The next step is that you want to talk to them about your services. So at that point, you don't coach. Do not coach at this point. It's going to be in your nature to start trying to solve all of those problems for you. All right? So all you want to do is empathize. So, right, I can see why those struggles have made it really difficult. I can see that you're in a particular situation that might need some specialist help. I can see why you've not managed to do this on your own. But I think we've got some things in place that would really allow you to achieve the goals that you've said. And obviously, just repeat the goals back to them. So saying that, I do think there's something here that can work. Do you want me to talk you through the kind of things that we could do to solve it? The answer is then going to be yes. And that's when you go into your pitch. So in the pitch part, you basically want to talk through the parts of your service that directly help them solve the problems that they've told you. If it's not relevant to them, you don't really need to go that deep into it. You can add it all at the end as a little bit of a bonus. But what you really want to do is pull out the key things that you could do in order to help them achieve the goal that they want by overcoming the obstacles that they told you they've had. So if they say that they're struggling for time because they've got children and they've got to cook multiple meals, you need to tell them about the specific parts of your service that are going to be relevant to solve those problems. You need to present them the solution. So make sure that you've listened to every single thing that they've said that makes them struggle, and you need to present them something that's going to help them solve that problem. The next stage is a temperature check. So you just want to see where they're at this point. So they've told you where they want to be, the reasons why they're not there, and why they've asked for your help. You've given them all the potential solutions to their problem. So at that point, you just say, look, so after everything I've been through there, the way that all works and how that's all structured, does that sound like something that would help you solve those problems and help you get to wherever they want to get to? And what you're looking for here is a yes or a no. If they say, yeah, that sounds amazing, good. Because that's where you then go back at the end of the call and tell them, look, this is what was said. This is what we can do for you. You've said this is the thing that you think is going to help you achieve X. So that's great. So now that you've agreed on that that's the right next steps for the client and that you're a good fit for each other, then you just want to ask the question of, okay, cool. So we've agreed that this is the right thing for you. I think you're a good fit. Obviously, you've said that we're a good fit for you and you think that all these things will really help. So do you know how our packages work? The answer is obviously going to be no. All right. And that's when you want to get into pricing. People always fumble around with pricing and they try and do loads of different silly tactics in order to make it work. They sit in silence, works for Americans. The silent close, I think, is ridiculous. If somebody says to me like, oh, it's right, so it's £400, and then just sits there and waits, I'm going to think they've got a bad phone signal. So my next thing is going to be like, hello, mate, you all right? You still there? It's just a little bit awkward. So the way that I always phrase it is, okay, so for that, obviously I think our 12-month program is probably the best thing for you. The 12-month program at the moment is whatever it is, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever it is. All right. How does that sound? Leave it at that, because you've asked them a question, you're expecting a response. If you just state a number and shut up, it's just a bit weird, in my opinion. That's for people that don't have very good social skills. They don't understand how people actually talk to each other. All right, so how does that sound? Generally, you're going to get one of two things. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go ahead. Or they're going to say, I can't afford that. If they say they can't afford it, then you need to adjust of whether they can't afford it in full or whether they can't afford it at all. So just say, okay, well, if we broke it down into smaller payments, would that be something that's useful for you? And then they might say, yeah, what is it? And then you can go, okay, cool. Well, the next best thing that people usually do is they usually split it into 2 payments. So they'll pay £1,000 now and they'll pay £1,000 next month. Is that doable? They might again say no. Again, if you get a yes, you're fine. You move on to the next steps. If they say no, then you can be like, all right, cool. Well, it's probably just going to be best off to kind of find out where your situation is, and then we can build something that's customized to you. All right. So what's doable for you? If you do it this way, 9 times out of 10, you will collect more money in less payments than if you just split it monthly. So the default notion that people do at that point is go, oh, well, we can just spread the payments over 12 months. That's okay. But realistically, for business and cash flow purposes, and for loads of reasons why I don't need to go into in this video right now, the more cash you collect in the less amount of payments, the easier it is to run your business. So usually people will break it down into smaller payments if you just ask them, right, so what works best for you? And if they go, oh, well, actually, could I do it in, 6 payments of 500 quid, whatever the price of the program is, but can I do it in 6 payments? Yeah, that's great. So we do it in 6 payments of X. We'd start on this date, and obviously that would be the whole program covered. You happy with that? Yep, cool. All right. And that's when you move on to the next step. So the final step is payment. Now, in my history, I used to work in a leisure centre, and we used to have really, really overbooked badminton courts. Don't know why everyone in Gorton loves badminton, but apparently that they do. So we actually happened to start taking deposits for the badminton courts because people were booking them out and saying they were going to pay when they got to the leisure centre, and then they never turn up. And we'd have loads of angry families stood waiting to play badminton that was saying, you said that court wasn't available and nobody's turned up for it. So we started taking deposits. So I got really, really comfortable at taking deposits and payments over the phone because it was natural for me to just go, okay, well, we can do it on the automatic payment system. Have you got your credit card? Or have you got your payment card? Long number on the front, etc. That's the way you need to approach these things. Multiple businesses ask for payments over the phone. I pay my car insurance over the phone. I pay for random things through companies that I already have lines of credit with over the phone. They just say, good, can you give us the details of the card that you'd like to pay, please? I pay my phone that way as well. So it's more normal than you think. It's just that as people's buying habits have changed and more payments are done online, people get less and less frequently taking payments on the phone. So people feel a bit weird about it. It's normal. So all you need to do is say, right, that's fine. Great. Well, we can get you set up right now. We can get the automated system start. So what's going to happen next is we'll take the payment. You're going to get X, Y, and Z, however your onboarding happens. So all I need is your card details. Have you got that at hand? Generally, they're going to do one or two things. They're going to say, yeah, give me 2 minutes. I'll go and get it. Great. Do that. Take the payment. Put the payment through. Everything's fine. The other thing they're going to do is, oh, I've lost my card. I've done this. I've done that. So the next thing you're going to do is, okay, when's a good time to call you back and get that set up? And then you handle it from there. The last thing you want to be doing is just chasing people for payments and leaving links hanging. I'm awful for it, right? I've got a multi-million-pound business. If someone sends me an invoice to fill, Simon, who's filming this, will know this. If you send me something with an Apple Pay link on it, I'll generally get to it. But if you send people an invoice, some people are just busy. Some people are just forgetful. Some people go around the houses before doing it. And if I have to set up a new payment on my bank details, it's like going through the Legend of the Seven Rings in order for me to add a new payee to my Lloyds. Honestly, it's like going through, they have to ring them, I have to do a code, I have to go on a quest, I have to slay a dragon, then I have to get another code from them, then I have to find it in my house where they've put it, then there's a 19-word sequence. It's annoying. Just take the payment on the phone. It's much easier. So that's the best way to do sales. It's non-pushy. It's thought out. There's a strategic process for all of it. And I can go back through every single question in here and know the reason why I'm doing it. And I can go through every single part of the money bit, which is the bit that people get funny about. And I can answer you honestly on why it's a good thing to do it that way from a business context and from a personal standpoint. None of it's pushy. They're saying yes all the way through the call that they want to do it. And that is the way that I would do my sales calls. So that is the step-by-step sales process that we've done to do 3 million. Now, there's loads of other things that we can add on to that. Handling objections, what to do if people say that they need the partner on the phone. So we're going to do a separate video on that. So to make sure you're notified about that and all the other videos that we do, subscribe below. The button at the top does something else. I don't know. I think it just tells you when we do more videos, but I think the subscribe button should do that anyway. Whatever, just press both the buttons because apparently that's what I'm supposed to say at the end of the video. I'll see you next time.